Hello everyone, and welcome to Judy's Creations in Crochet. And today is October the 2nd, 2025. Kiki is just stopping by to say hello. I have to tell you, I was a little sad to take off her September dress and put on something for October, but here she is in her October finery. This hopefully reflects all the beautiful colors we are going to find in the trees throughout this month, because the trees certainly do turn beautiful colors in this area. So I'll put her up there to watch over it all. So, welcome everybody, new and returning viewers. Before I get started, the first thing I really want to do is once again thank everybody for all of your well wishes and great comments and support and birthday presents and everything that you sent my way last month, especially last week. I really was spoiled. I got something in my eye. I really did feel spoiled last week, and I felt surrounded by the community's love. You are also very special to me, and I do appreciate your best wishes and your support and all of your caring about me. And at the same time, I had a number of people tell me their birthday was sometime last month as well. So I want to send a big birthday wish to all my viewers that have September birthdays. And a lot of people are not aware that September has the highest birth rate. And if you count back 9 months, you maybe can figure out why September has the highest birth rate. Because my birthday is on the 23rd of the month, I always maintain that I am a true Christmas baby. Anyhow, I just wanted to once again send out thank you to all of you for all your kind words and support and everything. It really, really, really was appreciated. And I don't think I said enough last week to let you know how much I appreciated it. So I'm very excited for today's episode. We have a lot to cover, and I'm excited to get started on some of these things. So first, we're going to start with what I'm wearing. I went delving into the rack out there to find all the fall items I could find. And this is probably a very basic shawl with just double crochets and then open windows. They're a little bigger than usual. I think they're 3. You skip 3, I believe. Anyhow, I don't know the pattern name. I made it years ago. I do remember, though, that this was made with a cake that I got. I think the cake had some cashmere in it. I got a few cakes from someplace, I don't remember where, in the US back at the time. And it was a merino, doesn't feel cashmere, so maybe this one was merino nylon, but I know a couple of the cakes that I got were merino and cashmere. Anyway, it looked nice and fall-like to me, so I decided to put it on. So I am going to start this week by doing a stash down, and I'm quite excited about my stash down this month. I'll start with the blankets. I'll do them very quick. You've seen them a couple of times now. I did my September blanket really was this one, which is made with the thistle stitch, and it was a tutorial on YouTube, so I will link that tutorial one more time. So I was happy to get that done. And then I didn't know what to do one weekend, and I decided to start another blanket. And you've seen this one as well. This is made with This one back here was made with a mandala cupcake. I don't have it here now. I've shown it a couple of times. This one is made with one of the Bernat blanket patchwork cakes that I bought, and I'm really, really happy with the colors of this particular one. And it takes about 1 2/3 cakes to make a 30 by 40 blanket. Now, if you want to make it a little bigger, you can, because I still had a good third of the cake left. And I just do it in a plain moss stitch with this really big yarn. It's the easiest thing to make, and it works up very quickly. So I made that. This cannot count in my Stashdown because I bought this yarn, it was either January or February this year. So it doesn't count in Stashdown, but it is something I made this month, and I'm keeping track of what I do every month. Then I made my item for the butterfly mal, which you would have seen on the video earlier this week. And this is called Changing Seasons by Karen Hooley. And here is what is left. The pink is a moon gleam fingering from EFA, and I only had this much left. It can go in though with my remnants. It's probably the amount of a mini. Let's just have a look here. Oh, 15 grams, a little less than the normal minis, although some minis are 10 grams. So it's a halfway decent amount. And then this is the other yarn I used, which is from Martin's Lab. It's a Tibetan single, and it has 79 grams, and it was 120 grams. So over half. So it has 524 yards. So I'm going to say this may be 300 yards, which is a good amount to make something with. I don't very often use my leftovers because I'm so anxious to get to all the other things that I have back there. But anyway, that's 1, 2 blankets, and this is number 3. Then, as you know, I made a poncho for the tutorial, and I went back and I put a cowl on it. So here is the poncho. If I can get it far enough back for you to see. Yeah, I can get it far enough back, but I can't get out of the way. There. Now you can see the poncho. I did put just a plain cowl on it. It is folded over. I went up quite far and put it down, folded it down, and I did the cowl in the moss stitch. Very plain all the way around, just to finish it off. And yeah, the point's off center, but I don't think a lot of people are going to care about that. It does have the center of the neck at the center here. So that is the 4th item I finished. And this is yarn I've had for a very long time. So that is number 4. Then I went and picked up a whip that had been sitting on the floor for a few months. I started it, I think, in the late spring, might have been early summer. If you remember, I told you when Kathy and I were planning to do the summer cow, we tried a few different patterns, and this was one we tried, and changed our mind because the pattern was very expensive, and the designer did not contact us when we got in touch with her. and we were hoping for a discount, which we didn't get. So here it is. It's called the Bouquet Scarf. It is a scarf, and it does these various colors, and then at the back it has a wide section, and then it does the colors a second time. So it really is a scarf. But I just decided I didn't want to. I got a lot of scarves out there, and I don't use scarves very often with my coat. So the couple I have are more than enough. So I thought I'm going to make it into a cowl, and I'm actually going to keep this cowl. It has one dark section at the back. I'll show you the yarn in just a moment. And I'm quite happy with it. Maybe I'll put this on and leave it, but it's not fall. But it is a nice length for a cowl and nice and colorful. So I really, really like it. So I just picked out quite a number of minis from my stash and used them, 6 of them to be exact. I used these 6 minis, and I have about half a mini left. They all are around 9, 10, 11 grams. One of them was even more. I don't know how that would be. Anyhow, I have a little bit of all of them. I could make another one of these. And for the main color, I use this, which is Cosmic Confetti from EFA. By the way, those of you that are new, whenever I say EFA, I'm referring to the yarn company Expression Fiber Arts. This Cosmic Confetti has tweed on it. This is a dark color called Dark Hollows, and I'm going to say it's kind of purpley, and it has a metallic in it, and the metallic is red, blue, and gold. Has all 3 colors of metallic, and I don't think I used even half of that ball. 63 grams. Now I do have a paper in there, so maybe 60 grams. So there's a fair bit of it left, and I do have another skein of it. That's what it looks like in the full skein, which is 92% merino and 8% polyester, which would be the tweeds and the sparkle. So I have another one of it yet that I could make something with that. So this is called the Bouquet Scarf by Tony Lipsy. Again, any of these names that I mention, I will put links in the description box below. So I think I might leave this on. No, I'll take it off. I got to go back to being fall because it is fall. And fall doesn't last all that long. I can do the bright ones all year. And finally, on the weekend, after I finished that, I think I finished it on Sunday, and I thought, what am I going to do? I can't start my October butterfly item yet. I still had to make the video. And I got a brainwave, and I remembered I just moved a couple of skeins of yarn that I had that were, I'm sure you've seen these, Red Heart Huga Fur. They are very, very fuzzy. That's why they call them, it is like fur. This is very hard. I have another skein and it's in purple. And I remember a while back, a few years ago now, I made something with this and figured out the best way to use it. This is really difficult yarn to work with, unless you know the secret. So I decided I was going to make a cowl. And the secret is 2 things. You want to work with a large hook, and you want to do a stitch like the moss stitch, where you have, I still have to finish the ends, but I started this on Sunday and finished it Tuesday. you make a large stitch, and the moss stitch is single crochet, then chain one, skip one, single crochet. And the next row, you're single crocheting into the chain space. So here is, it's quite a lengthy, I got some ends to tie in there. It's quite a lengthy, see, it goes down much longer. It's a lengthy cowl. It's very fuzzy if you've ever felt hygge fur, but you can't see it. But if you put your hands in it, you see these holes. So what you're able to do as you're doing a row is feel the holes as you go down the row, and you put your stitch in there and just doing a single crochet, chain one and go into the next hole, and so on all the way down. And it's fairly solid because of the fur. It is very, very, very soft. So, and I've had that and the purple ball for years, quite a number of years. And then I just single crocheted the back together, which you can hardly see. So I'll have to go up when I'm done here and tie in those two ends. But, you know, very, very straightforward, easy thing to do. So I finished that in a day as well. So I actually finished 5 items. Sorry, I finished 6 items. 5 of them can go in my Stashdown and count. So that was almost 2 balls, and that was 2 balls. And this was, by the time I got there, was 3.5, almost 4 balls. 2, 4, and 4 is 8. And then this was a ball and a half, 9.5, a skein and a half. Another ball because the rest isn't enough for anything. So that's 9.5. Oh, and this, half a ball, so that's 10 plus the equivalent of 3 minis. That's quite a bit to go out of my stash. I'm very pleased with that. Now I'm going to have to get all of these leftovers into my remnant box, and that's going upstairs into my personal. And I'll probably take this with me to the craft show, something that I can price at a little lower price for those that don't have a lot to spend. So I'm quite happy with the amount that I finished this month. Mind you, some of them were small. That one had been started in a previous month, but it's a whip that was on the floor that got off the floor, and I'm really happy about that. So I don't think I have any items from this year that I started and are whips except the blanket. That blanket, I don't know when I'm going to get back to working on it. Maybe during the Christmas season when I'm doing the Advent, I'll get back to working on that blanket, but it isn't going to get finished this year. But so far, everything else that I started this year has gotten finished. And I think I saw my number is 39 or 40. I think maybe this cowl made 40 items, so that's good. I would have liked my goal to be 60. That's not going to happen, but if I get to 50, that's basically 1 a week, and I'm happy about that. So that's my Stashdown for the month. September was a very productive month, better than I thought it would be. October, I have some items in mind to make that are going to take longer, so I won't get as much done. One other comment I wanted to make, I should have made when I was talking about last week, that I didn't notice till after it was done, but remember I got a gift from Gary, and I was commenting on the wrap felt like cloth almost. Well, I wasn't paying a lot of attention, but I went back and looked later, and I thought it was quite neat that he sent me, I think he probably picked this out, because it has butterflies all over the wrap. the cloth, or it's not paper, well, it's heavy duty paper or cloth, but it has butterflies all over it. And I thought that was so cool. So I'll be keeping that, and maybe I'll get to use it sometime. Again, thank you, Gary. All right, now we finished Stashdown, but we have two other things to get started on today for the month. The first thing we're going to do is the set of minis. They are meant to be, move that out of the way for a moment. They are meant to be Halloween, sort of like an Advent for Halloween minis. And they did say they were darker and moody colors. And that works for me. I don't have to have bright colors all of the time. And they came in this box, a black box. They're from Polka Dot Creek. And this is the box they came in. And when I opened it up, I only barely opened it, and I saw that they were in a bundle. And maybe I can show. They call them a bouquet, and they wrap them in this cardboard. But they were just out there. You could see them. Now, I shut it real quick, so I really didn't see the colors. I mean, I got a hint, and then I shut it. And then I took this box to Bonnie, and I took her a whole lot of Halloween tissue paper, and I asked her to wrap them for me. Also, it came with a choice of bags. Now, by the time I ordered it, there was no choice. There were 3 different bags. One had cats on it. I would have ordered that one. But they only had one bag, and that was this one. They call the apothecary bag. Now, it has a box bottom, and it's pretty square. It's a smaller one. It would be perfect for people that make socks or mittens or even a hat. Oh, it has pretty interesting fabric on the inside as well. Oh, you know what? This could be reversible. So there's the inside fabric. Has owls. Yeah. So anyway, I'm probably, we can't do anything right now because between the tariffs if I send it to the U.S. and the fact that I have a mail strike, which means the post office is even closed. You can't mail anything. They're not taking packages or anything. But at some point, when everything gets back to normal, I'm going to make this a giveaway. I may have to wait till next October to give it away. I don't know. But some lucky viewer is going to get this bag at some point. I've closed it back up, and I'm holding it off to the side so that I can give that as a gift at some point. So we have all of these minis in this box, and they are not numbered. I told Bonnie, don't worry about numbering them. I'm just going to reach in and take a mini for each day. Now, being that this is the 2nd of October, I'm going to take 2 minis, and she folded them in half and wrap them, and I'm going to take 1 orange and 1 black. I don't have a board out at the moment, but by next week I'll have a board that I can pin them on, because next week we'll be picking 7 out of the box. So let's start with this one. She did tell me the colors are sort of dark. I think I'm going to tear the paper and not worry about it. And this is dark, but I do like the color. It's got black in it. See? I like that color. Very pretty. It is moody, but pretty. And then this one, oh, I really like this one. I like the colors. I wouldn't mind a full hank of this one and put it with a charcoal or a black. That that is pretty too. So those are my first two draws from the October set of minis. Now these are just 10-gram minis. Just 10, but that's okay. I got so many 20-gram minis that, yeah, this would be nice to make something a little smaller. Okay, so that is the mini set for the first 2 days of October. Now, I have one more thing I want to do with you. And let me pull this out. I don't know if I showed this to you or not last week, but this is something we did, I'm almost positive, 2 years ago. It was a kit I bought off Etsy where you got these 6 colors of yarn and you got a pair of dice and you rolled them. We did it every week, and it told you what color and what stitch. They had in the kit a set of 6 stitches that were different to me, so that you were making, like, see this thing, I don't know how I made that now. I don't have it anymore, but it made a very interesting texture there. And one of them had puffs in it, and this one had some special kind of cross stitch in it. And then there was one section that had the puffs in it. I don't know if you can see the puffs. And then this open one, there again is that textured one, and so on. And we rolled them and did whatever stitch they told us and whatever color they told us until we got near the end and ran out, and I did my own thing here of alternating colors to make the section big. You were supposed to do, I believe it was 8 rows with each one. We have to do 2 each week. I think we did 2 colors each week. But anyway, there is the one I made at the time, a nice big asymmetrical, and it only had that stitch in it once. That's luck of the draw, I guess. Anyhow, I wanted to adapt that and do something similar again, especially after I saw another creator making an adaptation to this. I thought, that would be a fun thing to do, and hopefully some of you will follow along. If you don't want to, don't feel that you have to. But I thought it would be a fun thing for us to do together. Now, first you have to have 6 colors of yarn. And I have my 6 here, and I have numbered them already. When I finish today, I will go up and cake up the first color. I'm not going to cake all 6 at once. So we have a charcoaly color and a brownish color. We have 2 different tones of pink or rose, and we have 2 different tones of green. These are all the same yarn. I don't have a lot of, I guess you'd call it, solids in one base of yarn. And this is Luminous Tweed Fingering. I don't think EFA has this at the moment. Whether they'll have it again or not, I don't know. But Luminous Tweed Fingering is 45% baby alpaca, 45% merino wool, and 10% mulberry silk. And you can see the tweed in it. And it does feel soft. I mean, alpaca, it should feel soft. And it has silk in it. So it should be really nice to work with. So I have numbered them, and once I cake them, I'll be sure to put the labels inside the cake. I might take a picture of them in numerical, or the way I've numbered them, and I just did it random. I reached in the bag and pulled one out and numbered them. I think I'll take a picture 1 to 6 so I can look at the picture rather than digging inside the cakes all the time. So I'm going to put this back in my Costa Rica bag for the moment. Now, the last thing I want to show you, I went and got, you could use just normal dice, but then you'd be rolling 1 to 6 for the colors, which is fine. But on the other, you'd be rolling 1 to 6 to tell you how many rows to make. And if you're only going to make 1 or 2 or 3, even 6 rows a week, this pattern has, I believe that we've picked, and it's called the Zenar Quoit. I will put a picture up here. I'm going to apologize and tell you that I made a bit of a mistake in picking that pattern, Zenor, which was my original intention. So I'm interjecting here to explain what I'm doing. When I started to work on that pattern, I found a couple of things. First of all, I was happy there was a chart. It turns out the chart is a piece torn out of the middle of it, I think. Doesn't explain where the chart comes from. It's definitely not the beginning. Usually they give you a chart that shows you how to start the pattern, how to get the base, and then what to repeat. This one doesn't, and it doesn't show the side. It's all wavy and ripped off. It made no sense to me. And the other thing I found out was, I mean, sure, you could use the printed words, but it is a UK written pattern. And when you have a pattern with that much work in it, it had 190 rows or 180 rows in it. And every row you got to be thinking, okay, double means single and treble means double. And I know I wouldn't get through it without making many mistakes and a lot of ripping. And 180 rows sounded like a lot of work. So I had picked the Zenor as an example of a style or type of pattern I wanted to do. I had already done one called Crochet Your Fade, and I didn't want to do that one again, so I went looking for another one, and I settled on one called Achilles. I double checked. It does have a decent chart in it, a chart that looks the way a chart is supposed to look. And it's written in US, what they call US terms, but it has the chart at the side. Double crochet looks like double and treble looks like treble. It does a lot of double, trebles, and double trebles. Now, when you're crocheting and using a chart, I know most of you know what a double and a treble is. You'd probably have to look up double treble. It's just one more wrap on your hook. I find that the number of bars on the symbol tells me how many times to wrap the yarn around my hook. So I don't worry about what is a double treble. This pattern looks a little bit complicated at the beginning, but once you get the base, it's pretty much, you got your increases at the 2 edges, and you have a decrease, which is double crochet several together in the middle to keep that shape that it makes. I did draw out the shape. The shape looks like this. You're making this until you get right to the end, and then you do this bit of coming across to close it in while this is increasing, this is decreasing. And at the edges you have your increases, in the middle you have your decrease, and in between it's just double crochets. There is one row that is a little bit different to give you the open spaces. And I think it's a pattern that will work better. It's called Achilles, and that's the pattern I'm going to do, is Achilles, and I believe it has something like 94 rows. You can, because it has here repeat so many times and repeat so many times, you could make it bigger. So because I changed patterns, I also had to change the die that I chose for rolling the number of rows. So I had to go back and edit this video, and it might seem a little bit disconnected in a few places, but there were a couple of places where I had to make a change. Now, I didn't want to change absolutely everything, so I did do the rolls for the original one, and right after I do the roll, the second roll, no problem. But the first roll gave us a big number like 19, and this is too small of a pattern to be doing 19 of anything. So I'm going to redo that roll, and where that roll is, I'm just going to cut in and show you the new roll for the number of rows. I'm not going to change the colors, just the number of rows. And I may have to make one other interjection farther down, or maybe just delete something. I really apologize for this change in pattern, especially if you went and got the pattern after I mentioned it last week. And if you want to go ahead with that pattern, please do. If having UK terms instead of US terms isn't a problem to you, you go ahead with it. I do a little talk about the yarn you use. I am using fingering weight, and I really strongly suggest you do the pattern with fingering weight. But if you are using DK weight, that's fine. Just know that this will be bigger. How much bigger, I don't know. The difference between using fingering and DK, how the final result changes. What I will do is next video, when I finish the first section and the following section, I will tell you the measurements I'm getting, and if you're doing DK, you can check your measurements and determine if you need to do fewer rows to make it the right size, or just make it bigger. Is it that much bigger that it matters? But the interesting thing is, this does tell you at the bottom, if you have started your decrease section, which is at the very end, in another odd row than stated in the pattern, your last rows might look like this, and it shows you an example of what it would look like and how to compensate for it. So this is by far a better pattern. I will tell you, Crochet Your Fade is an even simpler pattern. It's one row repeat basically, or maybe a 2-row repeat all the way if you'd rather do that. But I am changing the pattern, and I am sorry, but I do think it will make life easier for all of us. And by changing the pattern to half the size, I also changed the one die that I'm using for the number of rows. So there is a place farther on here when I roll the dice that I will, after I roll the dice, I'll interject with a change and roll the one die that determines the number of rows. I only have to do that one change, and I hope no others. So sorry for this. I will be cutting a piece out and interjecting a piece, and I think that will take care of most of what I said in the last video that will be changing. Thank you for understanding. Here is my one die that's a normal die with the numbers 1 to 6. This came in a package of several dice, and I can't use a dice like this or this because I wouldn't be able to read numbers off of it. It'd be laying funny. Or this one. I can't use those three. I don't think I can use this one either. And it just has numbers up to 8. So I was left with this one, which has numbers 1, 3, 5, 7. Well, there's 6 and 8. Highest number on here is 12. not bad. But if you even got 12 every week, after 10 weeks, we'd have 120 rows done. This has 180 rows. So the last dice I have, last die, has, does it have every number? I don't see, oh yes, there is a 1. I think it has all the numbers up to 20. See, there's 20 there. There's 14, 13, there's 18, 19. I don't, well, there's 1, 2. This must be a 20-sided die. I just thought this would be the best one to use. And even if we got 20 every week, it would take 9 weeks to get to the end. And you know we're not going to get 20 every week. But it's the best we can do, 20 rolls. So what I decided is, since at the beginning it's very small point, and you can do 10 rows at the point in no time, I thought for the first few weeks, we'll see how we progress. For the first few weeks, I'm going to roll twice. So we're going to have 2 sets of numbers to work through until the fall. Even if you got 20 in the point, you could do probably in an evening. But once we got wider, I will only do 1 roll a week. But if we get a lot of small amounts, I rolled 2 rows for 1 week. I think I'd make 2 rolls of the dice. I think I'll play it by ear, whether I roll once or twice each week. I will write them down, and of course you need to make note yourself, so that we could finish this, I hope, by the end of November. We'll do it through October and November. We could not get it done, I don't imagine, in 1 month. But it'll give us something to do through the next 2 months, because November is a quiet month. We'll be doing the Advent, the minis, throughout October, so that'll be something to keep us busy. But November is going to be a quiet month, so we'll want to keep working on this. Now, what I started to say, if you are using like DK, or for sure if you're using worsted, I don't think I would make this pattern in worsted. If you have something else you want to make that requires worsted, that's your choice. But if you're using DK, and I do a roll, and I'm only going to roll the big one, and it comes up 10, I'd say if you're using DK, only do half of what I roll, 5. If I roll an odd number, like this time it came up to 19, go to the next number, 20, and do half, okay? So if I roll 19, you're going to do 10. I would say do half of what I say every time. Now, what will that do in the pattern? That probably also means that you'll have to, halfway through the pattern of increasing, halfway through, you'll have to start decreasing. You'll know better once you've done a few weeks and see how big it is compared to what you see mine is. You'll see how fast mine is growing. If you really want, I can take measurements on it. And if you want to just do DK with the rolls that we have, then fine, use the same rolls that we have. But I suspect DK, you know, it takes 2 fingering weight to make DK. I don't think it will stitch up twice as big. You may want to use your own dice and get something that has smaller numbers, but I would caution you with the DK, just because you're going to have some experience as a stitcher to judge how big it's getting, and to make a decision at some point that you're going to jump down to the final rows that take it across and stop it growing. You'll have to work that out on your own. That's why I'd really recommend, especially if you're not an advanced crocheter, that you be using fingering weight, maybe sport weight, but fingering weight, and following along as I do. Okay, so every week, starting today, I'm going to do 2 rolls this week and probably next week as well. So here goes. I have a little box to put it into so they don't go all over the place. And I got, I think I'm going to re-roll. We want 1 at the very beginning. 1 row isn't enough to do anything. 1 later on for a contrast is fine, but 1 at the beginning is like 1 stitch. Oh, 19. Okay, I'm not going to change the die that gave us the color. I'm going to leave that alone. I have changed to the die that has numbers that go up to, I believe, to 12. I see an 11, yes, to 12. I think if we got 12 every time for 8 weeks, it would be about the length that it is. But again, I will double roll. There'll be times when we get 1, 2, 3, and then you won't progress very far. So I'm rolling this 1 die, and I got 9. I'll show it to you. Yes, I got 9, and I'll show that to you. And so we'll do color number 3 and 9 rows to start. And then the next roll we'll just leave as it is because it's acceptable. Thank you for, what's my word I'm looking for going along with this change. We got 3 and 19. So that's color 3 with 19 rows. Now I'm going to just do a quick look. Well, here it is down here. And here is color 3. So I'm going to get to start with that color. I kind of like that. I hope I get one of the greens next, but we'll see. And let's roll it again. This time if we get 1, I'm okay with it. But 1 at the very first, that'd be like 1 stitch and done. And this time we got color 4 and 5 rows. Color 4 and 5 rows. I'm keeping track of this in my lovely notebook that Lisa made for me for my birthday. So let's see what's color 5. No, color 4. Color 4, 5 rows. Oh, yay. This is color 4. So I'm going to start with these 2 colors. 19 rows of this and 5 rows of this. So hopefully you've written that down. I'll try to remember to put this in the description box as well, so that you can refer back to it if you haven't been writing it down. So I'm going to get started on this week. And tonight, in fact, I'm going to get started on this and have something to show you each week to see the progress of this. And at the very end, we'll see what I'll do. If maybe I'll have you send in pictures and do a quick slideshow of what yours looks like with the colors you use. Yeah, some of you want to tell me in the comments below today, what yarn are you using, and are you using the same pattern as me? So that's our homework for next week, and it'll be really interesting to see how that goes. So that pretty well wraps up all that I had to do with you this week. Next week, I will have some yarn to show you. I have yarn piling up down here. It won't last too long because, you know, I'm not going to be getting any mail. And it's interesting that EFA notified me that they sent me some yarn, I think about 2 or 3 days before our postal people said they were going on strike. So that means the yarn will get to the border and it'll sit in customs until this strike ends. And I don't think it's going to be a quick solution, because the major arguing point is the company wants to cut out door-to-door mail delivery. And the union, of course, doesn't want to cut that out because that would be a lot of jobs. And apparently there are something like 4 million households in Canada that still get door-to-door mail delivery. I'm one of them. I wouldn't want to lose that, but that's one of the big fighting points. So that's it. We covered everything today. I also, after I get this done this week, I have to make a decision about my a pattern choice for my butterfly yarn and get busy on that. So I can't think of anything else to cover. If you have any questions, I have said before, feel free to put questions in the comments. I will always be happy to answer them. And next week we will continue on with more yarn, and we will roll the dice again and hopefully make a fair bit of progress on this project. So until next week, happy hooking.